What's up, Met fans? Welcome back to Talking Mets with Rob. How is everybody doing? Before I get started talking about the possibility of a Pete Alonso extension close, don't forget, guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit on that like button. If you're enjoying my content, want to see more, want to get notified when I post my videos and when I go live, you guys know what to do. Hit on that subscribe button, everybody. All right, guys. So the news and the rumors starting to swirl right now about the Pete Alonso and the New York Mets extension right after the Jeff McNeil extension has been official today. The Pete Alonso extension has picked up a lot of steam over the last couple of days, and there is a big possibility that Pete Alonso can be a Met for a very, very long time, as most Met fans and most people around the league expect to happen. The Mets aren't going to lose Pete Alonso to free agency, and the Mets are smart enough to realize what went on with Aaron Judge and the Yankees, where they made a mistake not extending him early on and had to pay so much more money for Aaron Judge. This Pete Alonso with the New York Mets situation is going to be different. The Mets can save a ton of money by extending Pete Alonso now than when he becomes a free agent. That is very obvious from what usually happens when a star like Pete Alonso becomes a free agent. If Pete Alonso becomes a free agent, he would get over $300 million, probably closer to 350 or so, 325, 350, and for about 9 to 10 years. If the Mets extend him now, the New York Mets can probably save between $50 and $75 million just by extending him now, by buying out a couple of arbitration years and giving him a large lump sum and an AAV that is worth where Pete Alonso caliber is. So what type of deals can you expect the Mets can actually offer Pete Alonso to give him a fair offer, something that he would accept and something that he wouldn't take, and take his talents into free agency, where the Mets would have probably more of a problem trying to sign him, because there will be other teams that will clearly go after Pete Alonso if he ever becomes a free agent. But I do not think that is going to happen with Cohen and the New York Mets. Cohen wants to keep this team together, especially the core. You see, the core is almost taken care of when it comes to Brandon Nimmo, Lindor with the big contract, Jeff McNeil just signing an extension for 4, possibly 5 years with the opt-out. Now Pete Alonso can be in that mix for similar to what Lindor still has left on his contract and what Nimmo will be starting his contract, either 8 or 9 years. Some people think 7 with a high AAV. Some people think 9 with a lower AAV. We have a lot of numbers to look at, and I came up with a couple of contract proposals that the Mets can actually give Pete Alonso, and I think it's fair, it's team friendly, and it's player friendly as well. And I think it's fair for both sides. And when you get an extension done with a player that's currently on your team buying out arbitration years, you save a little bit of money on the long end of the contract when you extend a player that's currently on your team. So when we look at contract proposals that the Mets could possibly offer Pete Alonso for a long-term extension so he can basically be a Met for life, what type of deals are we looking at? So we'll look at it right here, guys. So here we go. So with Pete Alonso and his extensions, the first one I was coming up with was 8 years, $200 million. That's $25 million AAV. That is something that is obviously on the lower end of the spectrum. I think that could be a first offer that the Mets could actually possibly give to Pete Alonso. I don't think he would accept it, but hey, you never know. $25 million sounds like a lot of money, especially when Pete Alonso has making less than that, and you can buy out arbitration years as well. The next proposal is 8 years, $240 million, which is $30 million average annual value, which I think is more around the area where you could possibly see the Mets offering that contract, and Pete Alonso would really have to sit down and think about that type of deal. $30 million a year for a star player like Pete Alonso, offensive talent, major numbers offensively. That is something that $30 million is right in the wheelhouse where you can save a few $1 million for the team, and Pete Alonso was getting paid very, very well per year. And of course, you know, depending on how the contract is structured, is that maybe he'll get more money early on and less money later in the years, or some deferred money like a lot of the contracts are today. The next contract that I possibly propose is 7 years, $250 million, which is more average annual value, but less years. That's something that the Mets would probably like more of, since considering the fact that 7 years is probably right on the target of where a team would probably be willing to go for a big guy like Pete Alonso. 7 years, $250. You pay him a little bit more per year, but you have a lower contract than the other two contracts that were 8 years. Or would the Mets go big time and look at 9 years, $280 million, which is security for 9 years, $280 million, nice round number. It's $31 million average annual value. This is something that I see players take a lot more. They might take a little less money for more years of security. That's been a trend lately with these longer term deals, that they will take a little bit of money off the table, but the years are where it's at. The security, it's where it's at. In my opinion, I think there's two deals out of these four that is more likely to happen with Pete Alonso and the New York Mets. Number one is the 7 year, $250 million. I think the Mets would love that number and love those years. And it's something to have Pete Alonso think about, because it is $35 million per year. The other one is the 9 year, $280 for $31 million per year. That is a number that I think the player would accept rather quickly. The Mets might be hesitant, but would probably do it if it has to get the deal done. So in my opinion, 2 out of these 4 deals are the deals to look at. 7 years, $250 million, which is $35 million a year, and 9 years, $280 million. That is $31 million average annual value. That is where I think them 2 contracts proposals can be the possibility of a long-term deal with the Mets and Pete Alonso. And now the Mets have a core for at least the next 4 to 5 years, including McNeil, Nimmo, Lindor, and Alonso. And what's coming up through the system, and the possibility of Beatty and Alvarez, could be a huge core for this team going forward. And I think the New York Mets will do this very soon. There was a report from Steve Phillips of MLB Network stating that he believes the deal and the extension could get done by the end of the offseason. That can still mean during spring training, before the season starts. I think it will get done prior to the 2023 season. If it doesn't get done prior to the 2023 season, I do think it's going to happen the following offseason, very early on. So look for these 2 deals to be talked about a lot. Once again, 7 years, $250 million, $35 million per year. 9 years, $280 million, $31 million per year. The other 2 deals that I think are less likely are 8 years, $200 million, $25 million per year. 8 years, $240 million, which is $30 million per year. The 2 deals that I expect that might be a little bit more rumored and possibly getting this deal done is 7 years, $250 at $35 million a year, and 9 years, $280 million per year. $1 million total contract, $31 million per year. Let me know in the comments, guys, what do you think would be the perfect offer to extend to Pete Alonso for him to accept? Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. Once again, guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit on that like button if you enjoy my content, want to see more, want to get notified when I post my videos and when I go live. You guys know what to do. Hit on that subscribe button, everybody. Once again, guys, let me know what you think of those contract proposals, and let me know of your own proposals that you would give to Pete Alonso that you think he would accept and would be team friendly for the New York Mets. We're 2 weeks away, ladies and gentlemen, from pitchers and catchers reporting, and 3 weeks away from position players reporting, and we're only less than a month away from the first spring training game of 2023. Can't wait to be at spring training at the end of February. Once again, guys, I want to thank you for watching, and as always, Met fans, let's go Mets.